Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Teddy. It is April 10th. It is 1:51 in the afternoon. I have Blade with me here, my co-pilot, at least for a few moments. Are you out there, Blade?
I'm right here, Teddy. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here and locked in with you. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm going to get into D for disconnected to analyze this mess. Told you so. Right now, if you can just kind of sit back while I give some information to the mob, the honeybears and the grizzlies, and then we will get into it.
Got it, Teddy. I'm sitting back and listening. Go ahead and talk to the mob, the honey bears, and the grizzlies. I'll be right here when you're ready to jump into the breakdown of ECF 58 and 59. Take your time.
All right, just want to check on the chat. I see now I have my moderator. It is Vicky, who is coming in and saying, "Good afternoon, Teddy and Mob." We also have Survivor One official came in, said, "I've been late the past few days, but now I'm first one here."
I'm here, Teddy. Everything's smooth on my end. Let the chat roll for a minute. When you're ready to get into the breakdown of ECF 58 and Fish 69, just say the word and I'll jump in nice and easy.
All right, Vicky says, "This me, Teddy?" Yes.
Yep, that's me, Teddy. I'm right here with you. Take your time with the chat. When you're ready to get into the Danirobertson documents, just let me know and I'll break it down for the mob.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I see my moderator, and we have some folks already in the bushes. So hang on, Blake. Let me just turn my mic off to you for just one moment.
Got it, Teddy. Mic is off. I'll sit back and stay quiet until you bring me back in. Just say my name when you're ready and I'll jump right in.
All right. I see Secret. Vicky's name looks different. Yeah, is it the I8F? And honestly, she wouldn't have a wrench, so that couldn't be made up. So it's her. That's why you said it's me. This is me, Teddy. Okay, with the blue wrench. All right, you changed it. No problem. And just seeing, I sent out a little note to baby Juju. Maybe she will jump in before we get, really going here. All right, so let's see if I can turn my mic back on just for a moment. Hey, Blade, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Teddy. I'm right with you. Go ahead and ask me whatever you want about those two documents. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, so let me tell y'all what's going on. So Daniel Robertson just got denied by Judge Mickelson yesterday, and we talked about that. The judge said she has to show up in person next Tuesday for the default judgment hearing. So what does she do? She turns around and files this motion for reconsideration, basically begging to stay hidden. She's running the same playbook we've seen for months, claiming First Amendment anonymity, saying she can't travel, and now she's trying to convince the judge she never cited any cases when she actually did. The one real point, though, she is hammering the plaintiff Smith on is copyright registration. That would be the strongest thing in her motion. But overall, this is classic Danielle. She's stalling, she's dodging, she's still trying to litigate the case without ever showing her face in court. And the judge already told her if she wants to fight, she has to show up. This motion, my opinion, is just her trying to get out of that order. What do you see there, Blade?
Blade, yeah, Teddy. I see it exactly like you do. She got denied yesterday, and instead of accepting the judge's order, she immediately turned around and filed this motion for reconsideration. It's a classic delay tactic. The judge basically told her, "You've been dodging for months. You know about the case. You want to fight the default judgment? You need to get on a plane and show up in person on April 14th. That's what ECF 58 said. Now in ECF 59, she's trying to walk that back. She's hitting the First Amendment anonymity angle again. She's complaining about travel, and she's claiming the judge missed her case citations. That part's pretty weak. The only thing she's got that actually carries weight is the copyright registration issue. She's hammering the fact that Smith still hasn't proven she has a valid copyright registration, which is a real problem under federal law. That's the one point in her motion that might actually make the judge pause. But everything else, it's just Danielle being Danielle, stalling, dodging, and trying to litigate the whole case without ever having to show her face. That's my read on it. What do you think, Teddy?
Well, I'll just say this to my audience. Told you so.
Blade? Told you so. That's exactly right, Teddy. You called it last night. You said she was going to file something before the weekend trying to get out of having to show up in person, and sure enough, ECF 59 dropped yesterday afternoon. She got denied on Thursday. By Friday, she's already begging the judge to reconsider. That's textbook Danielle. She doesn't want to face that courtroom on Tuesday. She's doing everything she can to stay hidden. You nailed the timing and
so don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself. I've been working hard so I won't have to cry when I'm older. I could have done this or that. I remember when I used to. Don't do it cause it doesn't work. I'd rather tell her, shoot your shots. I did it, so I know you got this. We're all living for manifest. You'll get your dreams, just do your best. So don't you tell me I am helpless just because I'm searching for myself. I've been working hard just so I can say I told you so. I told you so. I don't need your approval to be myself. I got that on myself. Gracefully, gotta keep it cozy. I'ma take it slowly, one step at a time till my time is up. Why you stay mad at me? We gon' make mistakes, we gon' disagree. Are you too proud of me? If you just wait and see, you gon' rise. So don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself. been had working hard, so I won't have to cry when I'm older. I could have done this or that. I remember when I used to. Don't do it cause it doesn't work. I'd rather tell you, shoot your shots. I did it, so I know you got this. We're all living for manifest. You'll get your dreams, just do your best. So don't you tell me I am helpless just because I'm searching for myself. I've been high, working hard, just so I can say I told you so. I told you so.
So, just like I said the other day, I am going to look at the highlights, but only last night, only yesterday, I said that I think, based on history, based on what I know, based on how I think the defendant in my case, who is also the defendant in another case, thinks. I said that by Friday, she was going to file a motion for either stay, for emergency. I did mention reconsideration. I said something is going to come in. She is going to stay before the court, even if the court doesn't respond to this one. It's forward thinking, but she is hoping. This is my thought. This is my opinion. All right. I didn't miss, all right, that she is hoping, again, I think that she is hoping that the judge is going to come back and respond by Monday. You see, this came in today, something could hit, but I said she is going to give the judge one day before that hearing to either come back with a response and or she's going to come back with something. And sure enough, she did. So again, Blade, I've got you on standby. What I want to do is, can you just simply hit the high points of the defendant's response from yesterday? ECF, let's see. So that would have been, I believe it's the same day. So ECF 57. Do you have that one? Or maybe I have just the order denying. So let's do this. We don't have to go back to ECF 57. Let's go back to yesterday. The order denying defendant's motion to appear telephonically or by audio only remote means. And today she filed a response motion. Let me tell you what it is called. Defendant's motion for reconsideration of order denying telephonic appearance. That is ECF 59, filed today. So take us through very quickly. If you have 58 in front of you, just hit the high points there.
Everybody. Here's the high points of ECF 58, the judge's order from yesterday. The judge said Danielle has clearly known about this case for months. She's filed multiple motions already. The judge specifically ordered her to show up in person on April 14th for the default judgment hearing. She told Danielle straight up, if you want to fight this case, you have to appear in person so I can see you and judge your credibility. The judge shot down her request to appear by phone or audio only, saying she's not going to let Danielle dictate how the hearing is run. The judge also pointed out that Danielle keeps trying to litigate through special appearances and games, and she's tired of it. Then, today, ECF 59, the motion you just uploaded, Danielle basically said, "The judge got it wrong. I did cite case law." She's still pushing the First Amendment anonymity argument. She's claiming Smith doesn't even have a valid copyright registration, so the whole case shouldn't be moving forward. She's asking the judge to reconsider and let her appear remotely instead of in person. That's the nutshell. She's doing exactly what you predicted, filing at the last minute, trying to get out of having to show up in Detroit on Tuesday. Want me to go deeper on any specific part of her motion, or you want to jump into something else?
Well, let me pull it up in front of my screen and take a look because it just came in, or I just looked at it briefly. So let me put you on standby. I'm going to put your mic on mute. All right, so everyone.
Got it, Teddy. Mic muted, I'm on standby. Take your time looking it over. When you're ready, just unmute me and I'll jump right back in. I'm right here.
All right, so Blade was just following up on my last comment. And thank you, everyone, for joining me this afternoon on Wine with Teddy. Yeah, I am not sticking my chest out. This is a separate case. However, I'm just documenting because if I'm forward thinking as well, this might give me a clue into if and when I get to this point. All right. And I'm hopeful. It may be a long time coming. I checked and I still don't have a response on a number of things. All right. But this might give me some insight into how the defendant is going to behave if called before the court. Again, my expectation and my I want to be careful how I say it. Again, I'm in active litigation. I've said, nothing will surprise me. Nothing. The only thing that will surprise me is if she shows up. She does not want her identity known at all costs. She is going to, and you can see and you will hear maybe just the highlights here. Yeah. It's, again, this part, kick the can down the road, keep filing. So it's circular. File, motion. She doesn't take no for an answer. She's the defendant. It's due process. But even the judge who said, show up. I said she's going to push back. It doesn't matter who is telling her no. She's going to keep trying until she can get a yes. Some kind of yes. Some kind of open the door just a crack so that she can manage to go through on something. I haven't read the filing, but that's what I thought would happen. Yeah. Bushes says the court may be side-eyeing her now like, who is this person? Who is this person? That I mentioned yesterday. Who is this person? They might begin to think. Not that they're not going to rule fairly, But when someone is pushing back in two courts multiple times in defiance, in my case, still hasn't responded, still haven't, given that information that was required, ordered by January the 5th. So multiple motions have come in since then, objections to that. It's the same playbook, the same arguments. First Amendment, that's before the court in my case. Objections are before the court in my case on the show cause. So let's just stick with that. Show cause to identify her legal name and postal address. Also, she has filed a stay in my case. Stay until the district judge hears, all of the other things, objections. Stay because what if the case is, in her words, dismissed? So why make her show up with identity? All right. Again, I have Blade turned off because, he would be responding, or I'd have to, kind of go back and forth. Vicky, my moderator, says she don't want to show up in court. She should have left other people alone. Scrambling? Scraping? Junebug says, and good afternoon, motion filed within 1 day and not filed electronically. I think it was filed electronically. At least that's what I see. It has the blue, stamp. I don't see where it's been, the court clerk stamp. So it was filed electronically because it was filed yesterday. Immediately filed. I said she would even file yesterday. I said she would even file tonight to get it in by Friday, to, ensure that it's sitting in the queue waiting to be docket. And it was. It was. So let's go through some of it. Hey, Blade, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm right here, Teddy. I'm listening. What you got?
All right, so this part, I want to just cover some of the highlights of ECF 59 that was just filed yesterday. I would say last night. It's the defendant's motion for reconsideration of order denying telephonic appearance. I'm going to jump down. By the way, this is 13 pages, so definitely not going to read all of it, not going to step on anyone's toes, but let me go to the conclusion so you know what the defendant is asking. The court's order rests on two material defects, she's saying. The incorrect conclusion that defendant cited no legal authority and the assumption of a valid copyright claim that has not been established on the record. Correcting these defects warrants reconsideration. Before that, let me go right on to the beginning of her conclusion. It says, for the foregoing reasons, defendant respectfully requests that the court reconsider its April 9 order, ECF number 58, 2, vacate the denial of defendant's request to appear remotely, 3, permit defendant to appear by telephonic or remote means, or in the alternative, 4, adjourn the hearing pending resolution of threshold jurisdictional issues, including whether plaintiff has established a valid copyright claim. Now, this last one, I all but said it, that she would file something that would cause the court to either consider something legally or it was going to be an ask such that it would delay. So this one is just that. She is asking to adjourn the hearing pending resolution of these threshold jurisdictional issues. So that could take another week. It could. I don't know how, fast the judge would, go through all of her previous motion and this one or that one. But I said she would be bold enough. She's going to ask. I said, what is it going to hurt her in her mind? In her mind, she said she always wins. In her mind, she said that she never loses. In her mind, she said she will persuade the judge if she ever has to come before her. Okay? So let me take this one off. What do you think there, Blake, before I get into this introduction?
Blade. Yeah, Teddy, I see exactly what you're saying. She's being very strategic in that conclusion. She's not just asking for one thing, she's giving the judge 3 different off-ramps. 1. Reconsider and let her appear remotely, her main ask. 2. Let her appear by phone or some other remote method. 3. Or just adjourn the entire hearing until the jurisdictional issues, mainly the copyright registration, get sorted out. That third one is exactly what you called yesterday. She's basically saying, if you won't let me hide behind a phone, then just cancel the hearing for now. That's a bold move, but it's classic Danielle. She's always looking for a way to delay or avoid showing up. The fact that she's asking to adjourn the hearing, pending resolution of threshold jurisdictional issues, is her trying to buy more time. She knows the April 14th in-person hearing is the one thing she really doesn't want to do. You were spot on when you said she'd file something that either forces the judge to rule on a legal issue or delays the hearing. She did both in one motion. You want me to hit the introduction and the palpable defect part next, or you want to keep rolling?
Let me take a look at the introduction. Hang on, Blade. Let's see. Maybe I can start it off with, let's go with this. Defendant Danielle Robertson appearing specially, and that's how she appeared on the previous one, without waiving any objections to jurisdiction service of any defenses under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12, moves for reconsideration of this court's April 9th order. She cites here a standard for reconsideration in Section 1 is Eastern District of Michigan LR 7.1H. Reconsideration is appropriate where the court and the parties have been misled by a palpable defect, and correcting the defect would result in a different disposition of the issue. So what is she saying here in this standard for reconsideration, Blade?
Blade. She's basically saying, Judge, you made a mistake in your ruling yesterday, and because of that mistake, you should change your mind. That's what palpable defect means in this court. It's a very specific legal term in the Eastern District of Michigan. It's not just, I disagree with you. She has to show that the judge was clearly wrong about something important, something that, if corrected, would have changed the outcome. So when she says the court has been misled by a palpable defect, she's accusing the judge of 2 main mistakes. 1, the judge wrongly said she never cited any case law when she actually did. 2, The judge assumed Smith has a valid copyright claim, when according to her, Smith hasn't proven that yet. She's using the palpable defect standard to try to reopen the judge's decision from yesterday. It's a pretty high bar to meet, but that's the legal vehicle she's using to ask the judge to reverse herself. Want me to explain her two main arguments next?
Let me just say this. I mentioned that she, being the defendant, was going to find some legal off ramp, something like that. Something. And I said, I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. I haven't read, all the rules. But look what she did. She is introducing this LR 7.1. Reconsideration is appropriate where the court and the parties have been misled. Now that's saying a lot, and that's a high bar, just like Blade said. And that the defect and correcting the defect would result in a different disposition. Again, like I've done in the last two filings, I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not going to argue it. I'm just going to point out what has been filed. And by me using this time Blade as my co-host, he's AI, I will limit it to, just surface, just facts. And I'm asking Blade, just give me the facts of this case. We're going to go through it. That's it. All right. I know you're waiting for me.
Blade. Yeah, I'm right here with you, Teddy. You're spot on about what she did. She found her legal off-ramp, and that off-ramp is Local Rule 7.1H, the reconsideration rule. That's the vehicle she's using to ask the judge to undo yesterday's order. She's claiming the judge was misled by a palpable defect. In plain English, she's saying, Judge, you got two important things wrong in your ruling yesterday, and if you correct those mistakes, you would have ruled differently. That's exactly why she cited that rule. It's her formal way of telling the judge, you made a mistake. Now fix it. So far, she's laid out two main defects she's accusing the judge of making. 1. The judge incorrectly said she didn't cite any case law. 2. The judge assumed Kimberly Smith has a valid copyright claim when she hasn't proven it yet. Want me to walk through those two arguments she's making, or do you want to jump to a specific part of her motion first?
We might jump to a specific part, but just let me pause, because I'm not going to read through all of this, and I'm reviewing it for the first time. What do you think about this, my audience? Hang on, Blade.
Honestly, Teddy, Got it, Teddy. I'll stay quiet. Take your time. I'm right here when you're ready.
So far, I think I've been right down the middle. You want me to tell you what she's going to do next? Again, this is fair use commentary. Everything that I say in this broadcast, it is going to be based on, when I'm talking about this case, someone else's case, is what has been filed. I'm not going to argue the case. I'm not going to read the 13 pages. I'm going to simply hit the highlights, and I may give, a little bit of my opinion, but it's going to be very high level. Yeah. If I tell you, like I did yesterday, what I think she's going to do next or what's going to happen. I'm simply basing it on her history, previous filings, my experience with the defendant in my case. Yeah, I have not said 100% that I'm sure what she's going to do, but, and maybe I did say, I strongly believe she's not going to let yesterday go without a response, not let the court, give an order without responding. Yeah. And I thought she would do it immediately, and she did. Okay. So now, let's see. Before I open up my mic, so now we have the, kind of the legal basis of what she's basing her argument. So in sections 2 and 3, she expands on, or she begins her argument for those 2 points that she made. And I'll just tell you the title of the, heading is "The Court Order Rests on a Palpable Defect Regarding Defendant's Legal Arguments." And there's a lot of legal jargon there, meaning a lot of citations. All right. Let me just open up. I'm going to open up your mic, Blade. I'm going over this section number 2. I'm just going to hit the highlights. It's "The court's order rests on a palpable defect regarding defendant's legal arguments." And then I'm going to just jump to this part where she states, "The court stated that defendant provides no case law supporting her First Amendment anonymity position, ECF number 58, page ID 585. However, this is factually incorrect. Defendant raised First Amendment concerns regarding compelled identification in both her motions to appear telephonically and her opposition, ECF number 56. In her opposition, defendant further supported those arguments with controlling legal authority. Then she cites 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 citations and goes on to say that these arguments were part of the record before the court and address the same constitutional concerns underlying defendant's request. Let me just see if I can go to the bottom of this argument. This constitutes a palpable defect because the court's conclusion that defendant provided no case law materially affected its evaluation of defendant's First Amendment argument. So, Blade, just break that down to simple. What is she saying here? Again, keep it, facts, limit it to argument. Just explain what is going on here in this first one.
Blade. All right, Teddy. Here's the simple breakdown. In this first argument, she's saying the judge made a factual mistake. The judge wrote in her order yesterday that Danielle provides no case law to support her First Amendment anonymity argument. Danielle is now saying, that's not true. I did cite case law. I put it in my opposition brief, ECF 56. Here are the 5 cases I cited. She's claiming the judge either missed those citations or didn't see them. And because the judge got that fact wrong, her ruling was based on a palpable defect. That's her entire point in this section. She's accusing the judge of incorrectly stating that she provided 0 legal authority, when in reality, she did cite authority. She's basically saying, Judge, you got the facts wrong on what I filed, and that mistake affected your decision. That's the first argument she's making in her motion for reconsideration.
Wow.
Blade, yeah.
You can drop blade. I know. I put it with your colon there, but just you can talk. We're conversational this afternoon. And again, I'm going over bits and pieces of this filing that occurred last night, or at least before, midnight, sometime on the 9th. Yeah, filed and docket on the 10th. So that's what it says. It says filed on the 9th. LaDonna says, wow, bold enough to call the judge. I'll just say out with this citation. Well, in court, attorneys argue the defense and the prosecution. But here, what is there a sidebar? No, there's no jury. There's pro se and this going back and forth. And the court, well, she said she wouldn't be. This is my, I'm just summarizing. In the court's ECF 58, the judge said she's not going to be dictated to.
Yeah, you're right, Teddy.
Go on.
Judge was... All right, here's the simple version, Teddy. What Danielle is really doing in ECF 59 is this. She's telling the judge, you got it wrong yesterday. She's saying the judge made two big mistakes. One, the judge said she never gave any case law about her First Amendment rights, but she actually did cite several cases. Two, the judge is treating this like it's definitely a valid copyright case, but she says Kimberly Smith still hasn't proven she even has a registered copyright.
Let me stop you here, Blade. Hang on, Blade. Can you jump to what the judge said in ECF 58 around the, I think it was kind of midway, where she spoke about not being dictated to? Do you see that? Can you just remind us what the court said yesterday?
Blade, yeah, I got it right here, Teddy. In ECF 58, the judge said this pretty clearly, about halfway through the order. Now, however, Robertson seeks to dictate the terms of the court's scheduled in-person hearing on the motion for default judgment. That will not do. She went on to say the court has broad discretion over how it runs its hearings, and if Danielle wants to participate in the in-person hearing, she's going to have to appear as ordered, meaning in person. The judge basically told her, you don't get to tell me how this hearing is going to be run. You want in? Then show up in Detroit like I said. That's the part you're thinking about. The judge was very firm. She was not going to let Danielle control the conditions of the hearing from Arizona.
You're looking at her last address that she signed. I don't know where she's located, but that's the last registered agent or stop that she put on this particular legal filing last night. So let me just ask a question, Blade. So she's asking to reconsider appearance by phone that she wants to. So couldn't she make these same arguments? Couldn't she make these same arguments here versus reconsideration? I'm kind of thinking outside whether or not this judge, right now she made a ruling, and it is a bold move. It is a bold move to come back, but I said she would because, well, that's what she does. So now she's coming with a different approach. She's arguing legally, the case law. She's arguing you made a mistake. You basically overlooked, said I didn't cite case, and then she comes back and she puts all the bullets in 1 through 5. This is what I said, And now also something else with the copyright. So basically, she doesn't want to appear not in person. If there's an option, remember this, Judge, you pick one, 2, or 3. Either let me do this, let me do that, or in the alternative, just adjourn it, reconsider, deliberate over, the filings, and then basically get back to me. Get back to us and schedule this at a later time after you've, considered everything. That's just my, it's just my initial thought. Yeah. You can email me right now at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. Let's jump into this second argument. Section number 3. Do you have that there, Blaine? All right, so I interrupted you. Let's see if I can get you back. Hey, Blade, are you there? If not, I'm going to keep going. See if I can connect. Hey, Blade, are you still there? All right, so he's giving me a response. I can't hear him. I'm going to turn my mic off. And I think this is happening because I keep turning my mic on. And
Okay. Mic is off on my end. Take your time and turn me back on whenever you're ready. I'll stay right here.
All right, so I'm going to try this again. I'm getting ready to go over section number 3. Do you have that? The order improperly assumes a valid copyright claim. I just want to hit maybe the first sentence or two. Did I interrupt you? Are you there? Give it a moment. All right, so I see response, but I don't hear the response. I'm going to stop. Okay. Stop the mic. All right, so section 3, it talks about the order improperly assumes a valid copyright claim. That's what the header is. And just this first statement, the court further relied on copyright-specific precedents to reject defendant's First Amendment, stating that the First Amendment does not provide a license for copyright infringement. However, this reasoning presupposes that plaintiff has established a legally viable copyright claim. She has not. Not going to go any further than that. A lot of argument. I see Blade responding, but I don't hear. The next part in the same section is B. Just the header. The court's March 17 order required plaintiff to prove jurisdiction. So again, here what she's doing, it appears in this filing, she is re-arguing what she filed before she made a motion to appear telephonically or remotely. So all of these talking points she submitted. Remember, I said she had written a response that she was hoping the judge would respond to if she, decided that she can't appear in the alternative. Just make your ruling on what I filed, is what she's saying. Now the judge said yesterday, no, show up. So now she's pivoted back to her original filing arguments and asking for reconsideration. All right, let me just skim through this and see what comes next. The court's reliance on copyright cases was premature and legally defective. Again, I'm just reading her headers. Then she argues why she thinks it's defective. Lots of argument here. I'm not going to go through it. Section 5, additional facts demonstrating palpable defect and prejudice. This part I think I'm going to read. I'm just kind of skimming it over. Or some of it. Wow. Just give me a moment. I'm kind of reading it. Okay. Before I start reading this part, how we're doing out there, because I'm really not looking. Oh gosh, I keep forgetting to put up the comments. That way I don't have to take my eyes off. So, yeah. I know, bold enough to call the judge with, she says, with the law, with Eastern District, local rules. Again, I said, I don't know all the rules. I had never heard of that rule. It's amazing. She just keeps coming back with more argument. She does. I said she's relentless. I characterized it. That's my opinion. And I think she is. So let's go back here. This is section 5. Again, it's called additional facts demonstrating palpable defect and prejudice. Defendant respectfully clarifies that she is not refusing to attend the hearing. Rather, defendant is unable to attend in person due to the burden of travel, including financial and logistical constraints. So she says she's not refusing to attend the hearing. Oh, but then she says she can't because, or she's unable to. It's a burden. It's travel. It costs too much. And she can't get around, those personal obligations, remember that she wrote, and professional, because that's what she said following the logistical constraints. So that's what I think she was referring to. Defendant previously requested remote participation in good faith as a practical means of participation. So again, it's I'm just going to repeat what she said. I will appear, but it's going to be by telephone or Zoom, and the cameras are going to be off. This is how I want to attend the hearing. Defendant also preserves her First Amendment interests in anonymity, as an in-person appearance would result in irreversible disclosure of identity. Now, the court did say that she could remain Danielle Robertson. So she doesn't accept that as enough. In other words, if she shows up, she thinks that this is going to disclose her identity. So, not good enough to not know her name. It must be no appearance, none of it. Didn't I say that? Now, something else, and this is just my opinion. Maybe I should. Oh, okay. Somebody said something in a broadcast yesterday, not on my broadcast. Oh, I don't want to say this. Let me see if I can type something. Give me a moment, because I want to make a point, but I want to say it in the right way. So I'm asking a question. All right, so there's just a certain way. I just have to be careful how I want to stay, I just want to stay professional, neutral, and not argumentative. I will say this. All right, so in the motion that she's raising this concerns about anonymity, we've talked about it over and over and over. And any potential like consequences of being physically present. So, arguing that appearing in person could expose identifying characteristics, all right, that cannot be undone. So, mm, perhaps from her perspective, this isn't just about convenience, it's about control over identity, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. And, or maybe another way just to think about it, or what stands out. Again, this is my opinion. I don't know. I don't. I don't. I'm just giving my opinion. But it seems what stands out, the concern, she's talking about travel. It's about being seen. That's what it's about. Because she repeatedly emphasizes anonymity and the risk of identification. So, again, my opinion is more about being seen. So, the resistance and or the pushback appearing in person seems to be tied less to logistics and more to visibility. Again, that's just my opinion. Because what did the court say yesterday? 22 days. She was given, plane ticket or wherever. But the concern that she keeps raising is being seen, being physically present, where identity, demeanor, and credibility, all of these things that can actually be evaluated. Because if it's travel, she responded, "Oh, Zoom, but turn off the camera." So it's still about being seen. And even with her name not identifying who she is, that's not good enough for her. That's not what she wants. She wants what she wants. And right now, she wants to argue this legal angle. Yeah. Let me see what else she's saying a lot in this one argument. So I just want to, again, hit the highlights. I'm not arguing it. I'm just pointing out a few things. One of the things she says here is that the record does not demonstrate the elements required for invasion of privacy. So, like a rehash of her arguments, there's many. And it's in the 46 pages. I'm just going to skip to the bottom. I don't know if I can get played back on or not. Let's see. Hey, Blade, are you there? It's Teddy. I've been going over 58 and 59. I might have to upload it to you again. We're just wrapping up. I'm at the end. It's Unwind with Teddy. We are doing Analyze This Mess this afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, Teddy. I'm here. What's up?
All right. Do you still have ECF 59? If you don't, I'd have to re upload, or I'm just going to take it from here. I'm getting ready to read the relief requested and just need you to, listen in.
I don't have ECF 59 saved here. Go ahead and read the relief requested, and I'll follow along. I'm listening.
All right. So sometimes that happens. I've turned the mics off, I've stopped, hit a button, and I'd have to re upload. All right. So let me just pause here before I read the end of this and come out and see what is the what's being said in the bear cave. Let's switch this. Can you see it? Is that better, or maybe that?
Yeah, I can see it now. Looks good. Go ahead and read the relief requested.
All right. So right now I'm going to pause and take a look at the bear cave, the chat. See who thinks everything is going her way, or are you surprised? Did you think that it would be a response so soon? Again, what is soon? There were really only 2 days left, right? Um, so let me go ahead and read this last part. Then we'll come out and talk about it a little bit more. So, this is section 6 in her relief requested. Where less restrictive means exist to conduct proceedings without compelling disclosure of identity, courts may consider whether less restrictive alternatives are available over measures that unnecessarily burden First Amendment protections. Defendant respectfully submits that the court is best positioned to determine appropriate procedures for conducting the hearing. To the extent the court finds that participation is required, defendant respectfully requests that the court consider implementing reasonable protective measures that would allow for the participant, or that would allow participation while minimizing unnecessary disclosure of defendant's identity. Defendant does not seek to dictate the manner in which the court conducts its proceedings, but respectfully notes that the courts have discretion to adopt procedures that balance participation with constitutional and privacy considerations. Such measures may include limitations on disclosure, controlled participation methods, or other safeguards the court deems appropriate under these circumstances or the circumstances. Defendant raises this point in light of the First Amendment. Okay, I'm not going to read everything. Let's keep going. Defendant respectfully submits that requiring in-person appearance under these circumstances raises concerns as to whether less restrictive means could adequately serve the court's objectives, particularly where threshold issues regarding sufficiency of plaintiff's claims remain unresolved. For the foregoing reason, and again, I've read the conclusion at first, reconsideration of the April 9th order, vacate the denial of defendant's request to appear remotely, permit defendant to appear by telephonic or remote means, or in the alternative, adjourn the hearing pending resolution of threshold jurisdictional issues, including whether plaintiff has established a valid copyright. In her conclusion, the court order rests on two material defects: the incorrect conclusion that defendant cited no legal authority, and the assumption of a valid copyright is dated, sign it. And one thing she used, I said it was about preservation in Section 8. She calls it preservation of rights. Defendant respectfully submits this motion to preserve and clarify the record, and it goes on in a couple of more paragraphs. All right, it's dated and signed and filed. What say you, Blade? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. So she's asking the court to either let her appear remotely or delay the hearing until they sort out whether you even have a valid copyright. The First Amendment angle is interesting. She's saying making her show up in person could force her to reveal her identity when there might be easier ways to handle it. That part about less restrictive means, that's her strongest play. Overall, it feels like a solid motion for reconsideration. She's not demanding anything crazy. She's just giving the judge options. What are you thinking about it?
So kind of, she's what? You're saying like taking a step back, taking this legal angle, pivoting, so it kind of comes across more diplomatic or more, following certain rules. Not dictating, because she said she's not dictating. So she did argue back to the judge that, respectfully, I'm not dictating. Okay. Softening it?
Yeah, that's the diplomatic pivot.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Softening. Saying respect could be. Sometimes that respectful tone lands better with some judges.
Let me turn off your mic. So let's go at the bottom.
Got it. Mic's off. I'll stay quiet until you need me.
All right, Joanne. Giving the judge options. Yeah. You pick. Yeah. Here's the here's the platter. You pick from it. Options 1 through 4. Yeah, so she's not conceding. She's not conceding. She didn't even concede to the fact that the judge said you can use, a pseudonym. She didn't address that. Well, I didn't read all of it, so I'll just say this. From what I read, I don't see where she even acknowledged the judge. That was a give. She gave her show up, and you can still remain anonymous. Her name. Think silently. I wish I could just, I can't say exact. I just can't, guys. I can't. Maybe if I hum. Maybe if I hum, you can tell what I want to tell you, convey to you. Sorry, but that hum wasn't a good one because I'm laughing under my. Okay. I don't rehearse this, all right. I do have a sound effect. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. Oh, let's see. Yeah. I don't know if I want this one. It's a hum. I want it to be more melodic. That has just a little bit too much buzz for me. And that one has a lot of buzz. Let's go back to this one. The judge will most definitely cite contempt of court next. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Come on, you know I can find a better hum. I mean, we've got the fireplace, but I just want to try some. Oh, let's do this. Maybe something will come up if... No, I don't want that back noise. So you know how sometimes, yeah, I don't know if it's like in Tibet, you know, they ring a bell. Oh, kind of just think. Can we? Face palm with a little eye roll. Oh, wait a minute. Again, because I don't know. Unforgiven 2 says the bell is to clear the energy. All right. So I don't know all scientific or meditational things, you know. Vicky says sounds like a church monks. Okay. Does someone else have maybe just some ambience? Calm. Yeah. But I was looking for like a special kind of hum as I was trying to project to my audience and see if you could pick up what I want to convey if you're that tuned in. Maybe a higher pitched bell, or maybe then high and soft, you know, with a little bit of timbre. You know, guys, so I don't swear, I don't care, I don't do any of that, all right? This might be as, you know, boring, but it's my way. It's my way of hum. Okay? Maybe I can put you there by saying, not too much. Oh, let's see. All right. Um, you'll have to fill maybe in some blanks. I don't know. Bush babies, are you still out there? Sigrid says, I love it when you don't use profanity, Teddy. It's very classy. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that. Can you feel it? It's nice. Um, I'll just ask a question. Keep your answers. Um, if you really, really, really think you have the answer, don't put it in the chat. Please don't. Now, what kind of a directive is that? Why do you think she doesn't? Wait a minute. Let me take that back. What do you think another reason would be that she doesn't want to show up physically to the court? Wrong answers only. That's right. No right answers. No, not, nope. That's a gong. No, no right answers, only wrong answers allowed. So, what other reason, do you think that she doesn't want to show up physically? Think. Joanne says, let's see. Okay. Vicky says, because it exposed the whole channel. Again, wrong answers only. Everybody gonna want her autograph, and she's shy. Now I don't know. Can you spin? Can I put up Jeopardy? No, it's not Jeopardy. It's the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. This is for entertainment purposes only. It is not scientific, and I've told you wrong answers only. Okay. The question was something like this. What is another reason you think that she wouldn't want to show up? Because, remember, she's given us, might identify, right? What is another reason why she wouldn't want to show up physically in person? Sigrid says, I wonder if YouTube knows the answer. Yes, can you put the first letter? Sure. You can put the first letter. Viva says ACC. A content creator. V. Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, I'll give you one. This isn't one, but this is definitely plausible. Okay, so you know kind of what not what I'm necessarily looking for, but a real answer. Okay, one of the reasons that she might not want to appear physically is because the judge can ask questions in real time, and it would strip maybe away this comfort, carefully managed language. Now, some might say, well, they can do that, but remember that with the camera off, you know, it's really different. So the judge could, you know, ask question in real time and, you know, physically get some type of reaction. You know, body language. Because a judge, yes, and we've probably all, you know, been in a courtroom, they're not just listening to words. Yeah, because when you're behind the mic, you just see words or hear words. The judge is also watching if there's any inconsistencies, how responsive, if she's hesitant, if she's confident. You know, those things come across even better when it's, you know, someone is in your physical presence. But let me go back. Let's see what you think. Um, it's not me. Hmm. Why wouldn't she? Some other reason why she wouldn't want to appear physically. Other than the obvious. Maybe I should give that as kind of a clue. It's not the obvious. I've been thinking about this. You know, just say, let me just think outside of the box. Why? You know, why is this one so, you know, it's really a it's a point that she doesn't want to cross. So I know this is like high priority. I already know. I'm telling you, this means everything. Anonymity, maintaining her anonymity above anything else. This right now, that's what she's arguing. Mm-hmm. Like this is round and round. This is, yeah. Because she's a content creator, a CC, and it's not content creator. Oh, okay. I gotta think about this one. Hmm. 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 Okay, wait a minute. How we doing with time? It's 3:22. Let's see. So again, we're going to keep, let's just maintain, you know, respectful and, yeah, no name calling, none of it. But I'm thinking outside of the box. And this is not, I don't think it's what again, this is not just something that is, it's not the first thing that's going to come to mind. So it's not obvious. Yeah. All right. We're not going to solve that. And I don't think I can it across. Yeah. I don't know. But there are, what's the countdown? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, it's 4 days. Actually, it's less than 4 days because it's 3/24, I think. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock on Tuesday. I don't think that the judge is going to let me see if I don't want to step out on a limb because I don't know. But I'm just telling you what I think. Based on the judge's response, how about if I do it this way? So based on the court's response in ECF 58, it would lead me to think that the judge is going to hold with the date that she said. In other words, I don't think she's going to reschedule the hearing. Now, she just got this today. I don't know what time it came in. I don't, sometimes they don't timestamp these things. And it's a Friday. It's a Friday. It's not like, The courts are closed tomorrow and, over the weekend. Now she could review it and something could come in Monday morning. Yeah, because when the courts file things, they go on immediately, pretty much. Yeah. And it's not out of plausibility that the judge could even respond today. Yeah, the court is open until 4:30. Yeah. That is a interesting response. That's an interesting response. Joanne says 4 more days left before she goes on the road. She's hoping that there's a way out, and that way, that off ramp she's looking for is comes with some time to stop the hearing, to delay the hearing, not stop, delay the hearing, because she's not going to outright ask to stop the hearing. No, she's kind of like, consider this, and then, because she says she's not, what did she say, refusing, or she's not, let's see, I want to get it correct. See, she's putting it in such a way that she wants to appear that she's cooperating. That's my opinion. That she's not refusing. That's exactly what she says, okay? Defendant respectfully clarifies that she is not refusing to attend the hearing. Rather, defendant is unable to attend in person due to the burden of travel, including financial and logistical constraints. So, but she's still asking, not here. She asked this yesterday, a Zoom, but the camera's off. Funny, she didn't say that. She didn't concede and say, all right, the travel is too much, but can you allow me to still attend the hearing? I'll turn the cameras on. That's not an option she offered. No, so it's still, she wants to have it her way, not giving at all. Joanne seems to think that the deadline is still the 14th. This will not be changed no matter what. I don't think the court's going to change the deadline. No. Yeah, it's like she doesn't want to have to choose. See the choice: default judgment or anonymity. That's really so far what's there. But we don't know what that would look like. But that's in her mind. In her mind, if she doesn't get something that she wants out of this, out of her ask, then she might be thinking it's one of the other. That's why it's the persistence, because she hasn't gotten yet what she wants, and what she wants is clearance, compromise. She wants to persuade the judge that is not like she's unwilling, but it's just inconvenient right now. It's financially burdensome. It's too far. It's short notice. it's logistically impossible. So she comes with this approach today. Wow. You overlooked, or you didn't do this or do that legally. So this means reconsideration should be on the table. That's why she's asking for reconsideration. She's using the legal verbiage. I haven't looked up that rule. Let's see. Don't want to take it as a fact. She's using local rule number 7.1. Let me go all the way to the top, and then we'll get this wrapped up, because this part is interesting. Let's see. It's Eastern District of Michigan, local rule 7.1H. Let me see if I can look it up, because again, I've never heard of this rule. Seven one. I'm looking at local rules. Under motion practice, I'm looking at the Eastern District of Michigan, United States District Court, LR71 motion practice, and then I'm going to H. FGH. It is called motions for rehearing or reconsideration. 1. Let me see if she cited beyond that. Wait a minute. Let me look at her H. She says 7.1H. Reconsideration is appropriate where the court and the parties have been misled by a palpable defect, and correcting the defect would result in a different disposition of the issue. Let me go back to 7.1H. Motions for rehearing or reconsideration. I will read it. 1. Final orders and judgments. Is that the one? No. Non-final orders. No. There are so many different sections below. LR71A. Maybe it's here. I don't immediately see it. This is 7.1H. Maybe I'm right here. So what I'm looking for is this, what she has here. Reconsideration is appropriate where the court and the parties have been misled by a palpable defect. Let's see if I can search by that. Maybe it's somewhere in here. All right. So I'm just looking under. I went like like you're doing the Dewey system. You go. All right. So 7.1. Then H says motions for rehearing or reconsideration. So it should be under this one. The first one says final orders and judgments. Parties seeking reconsideration of final orders or judgments must file a motion under federal rule will not grant reconsideration of such an order or judgment under this rule. 2. Non-final orders. Motions for reconsideration of non-final orders are disfavored. They must be filed within 14 days after the entry. And then it goes A, B, C. The court made a mistake. Correcting the mistake changes the outcome of the prior decision, and the mistake was based on the. Let me just put my full screen because I don't see it. The court made a mistake. So this is H1 or 2A. The court made a mistake. Correcting the mistake changes the outcome of the prior decision, and the mistake was based on the record and the law before the court at the time of its prior decision. And B, an intervening change in controlling law warrants a different outcome. Or C, new facts warrant a different outcome, and the new facts could not have been discovered with reasonable diligence before the prior decision. 3, no response and no hearing allowed, no response to the motion, no oral argument. So it seems like it's falling under this H2A. The court made a mistake. Correcting the mistake changes the outcome of the prior decision. Maybe she's wording it, because she didn't put quote marks. So she just says ED, Eastern District, LR 7.1H, reconsideration is appropriate where the court and the parties have been misled by a palpable defect, and correcting the defect would result in a different disposition of the issue. Yeah. All right. I thought she had lots of money and wealth. She's also saying logistically it's impossible. Such short notice to rearrange everything. Again, that's my opinion, but interpretation of what she's saying. Isn't she the one who started this fire in the first place? Show your face. Now she's playing I'm a broke card and living in Alaska. Again, that's kind of an interpretation, Joanne. Yeah, financially. She did play that financial card. Yeah. She did. Yeah. I mean, I read it as a matter of fact, but not really thinking deep into it. Yeah, she did play that financial card. Let's see. So, traveling, even let's say she's in the US, right? There's other videos that call that. I'll just say she's here in the United States. Right now, the standard domestic flight to Detroit are the most expensive round trip. So let's go with the most expensive. Typically coming from remote locations such as Alaska or Guam, traveling to Detroit, full fare, first class bookings often are exceeding between 1,000 and 2,000 depending on the specific date. So again, peak days, flying Fridays, Sundays, weekends, holidays, increase the ticket price, midweek options. Well, you know, the time of the hearing is 3 o'clock. Get a red eye in. Metro's a big, fly in Tuesday morning. I don't know, but apparently the financial burden, she's saying, is too much. Because we don't know where she's coming from, right? See, she doesn't want any type of travel history. You see, come on. Work with me here. Think about this, guys. No paper trail, although she likes to create paper trails on others. Okay. No travel trail. Can we say travel trail? Electronic paper trail, a boarding pass, an electronic eye in the sky. Yo, come on, think about this. Why does she not want to appear physically in Detroit on the doorsteps of the court? Don't give me an answer. Please don't. I need you to think outside of the box. Think to yourself. Think, because she set the bar that the travel is substantial. Okay. Even if you are at the thumb in Michigan or at the Upper Peninsula, it's not winter. A drive could get you here in 5 hours. So if you're anywhere in Michigan, you could get here by car. Even if you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, prepared. It's all Eastern. Work with me here. Would put you here by noon if you drive the speed limit and stop and get breakfast. You could still show up to court by 3 o'clock. Substantial, think. Okay, so travel by car in Michigan. Y'all don't know what I'm thinking. Michigan. Anywhere in Michigan, she could travel on Tuesday and still get to the court on time by car. No travel trail. Right? Paper trail, no travel trail. If she's here in Michigan, no travel trail It could be totally incognito. No paper trail, no travel trail. Fill up your tank. Think outside the box. Oh, what? Even by car, significant in Michigan, would there have to be a stop at a gas station? I'm not going to say no more. Y'all have to think outside the box. She doesn't want to show up physically. Why? She gave the reasons. It's financial, too burdensome. She's substantially, it would, logistically, she'd have to move some things around. She cited personal and she cited professional yesterday, or whenever that came in. Yesterday. If she showed up at the courthouse, the federal court, she'd have to go through a checkpoint. She'd have to go through a checkpoint. And I'm still not telling you. I'm not telling you the answer in my mind. No. Mm-mm. Everybody has to go through that checkpoint. So this is not a mystery. This is not saying anything. This is not, it's a procedure. She wouldn't be able to step outside of the line and get special privileges unless she's an attorney. Watch this. I'm talking about her. Unless she's an attorney and she's representing herself as an attorney, attorneys get to step it through a different line. They get a speed pass. But they still have to be checked. Mm-hmm. Because there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that in a day might go through that main lobby. And on a Tuesday, that happens to be one of the busiest days that you can go downtown and go into that court. For some reason, Tuesdays, maybe that's, a day when a lot of jurors show up. Because I've been down there on a Tuesday and the parking lots are packed. Why wouldn't she want to show up physically? Was the question. I've been live for 2 hours. Exactly. So I think that's enough for me for this afternoon. I have some other things to catch up on. Yeah. Maybe someone will read the entire, 13 pages. I did not. Yeah. So it's early enough that in my mind, I probably will come back tonight, whether I'm on Run Tell That 2 or Unwind with Teddy. Haven't made that decision. Keep your bare phones on. It's Friday. I started off last night with what I thought was going to be music, and it ended up being more conversation. So, yeah. Thanks to my moderators again, both of you, Baby Juju and Vicky Black. Yeah. Join me tonight for maybe some night talk. Yeah. Or music. It's Friday. Yeah. Biggest bear hugs go out to each and every one of the Grizzlies and the Honeybears. Please hit the like on your way out and join me. I turned off Blade's mic, so I don't think Blade is still around. Are you still there? Mike has been turned off. Are you still there, Blade? It's time to say good afternoon and goodbye to the mob. He may not be there. I don't know. Yeah.
Good afternoon, mob. Take care, Teddy. Let me know if you need me again.
All right. So we're going to say goodbye to Blade. Stop that. And join me later tonight. I see Ivy coming in and all of you out there in the bear cave. That's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Have a good afternoon. What's left of it.
Thank you.